in Scranton, PA. It's 2 p.m. in Los Angeles. Welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show on Newsmax. As a general rule, if left-wingers' lips are moving, they are lying. Joe Biden, the current occupier of the Oval Office, prime example here. Here's a guy whose first 2 bids for the presidency were torpedoed because he's a serial plagiarist. Joe Biden has no original thoughts in his head, even when his head was allegedly functioning properly. Joe Biden has lied in almost every indignity he's imposed on our nation over the past 8 months. So we know what the score is with Biden and his team of socialists. But what do conservatives do when 2 equally untrustworthy people tell a different story? Who do we believe? That's the conundrum we face in tonight's preamble. Let's start off with some easy stuff. Here's Nancy Pelosi.
It's not about a dollar amount. The dollar amount, as the president said, is zero. This bill will be paid for. It's about what are the values that we share and how we prioritize them. And that is the place that we will go.
Okay, that's simple. She's either a full-on incompetent nut or Joe Biden's lack of mental sharpness is catching. Any 5th grader can tell you that spending $5 trillion, according to some estimates, isn't zero. That same 5th grader would also have the correct instinct to run like hell when the schoolyard bully is trying to steal lunch money, asking his victim, don't pay attention to the dollar amount, but values. Here's another easy one.
Let me pronounce to my friends that the border is both sovereign and secure. It is obviously subjected to biased and unfair narratives for political purposes.
Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, at best, is a liar. At worst, she's on some of those illicit drugs that are flowing unrestricted over the unsecured southern border, a border that her party has cursed our nation with. Human trafficking is way up, narcotics trafficking is through the roof, illegal guns flooding America's streets, and nearly 2 million illegal aliens, many with the China virus, have invaded the United States over the past 8 months. And everybody knows it. Now, let's get to the difficult stuff. Yesterday, conservative Congressman Jim Banks grilled General White Rage Milley on why he is so willing to do interviews with political media figures like Bob Woodward.
What happens when a military general becomes a political figure?
You would
agree that's dangerous?
I think it's dangerous, and I have done my best to remain personally apolitical, and I believe I am. That's part of my professional ethic, and I'm trying to keep the military, the actual military, out of actual domestic politics. I think that's critical.
Do you regret speaking with Bob Woodward?
No, I think that it's important for me to speak to the media.
Okay. So the general wants to avoid politicizing himself and the military, but is willing to sit down with a well-known left-wing media operative with a history of bashing conservatives using half-truths and lies. Woodward also has a great history and a great affinity for the left wing. And this is how Milley avoids the appearance of politicizing the military?
And talking about the January 6th riot, it says that you told Bob Woodward that you wrote in a list in your notebook of groups that you personally believed were responsible for the attack and that you associated with it. Quote, and you called these groups, quote, domestic terrorists, but it also included 2 conservative media outlets that you listed in your notebook, including the Epoch Times, which, by the way, is a news outlet that was founded by critics of the Chinese Communist Party, and Newsmax, which is the 2nd most watched conservative media outlet in the country today. Do your notes about January 6th reference both Epoch Times and Newsmax as on a list of domestic terrorists?
I'm not recalling this conversation at all.
Okay. Did you notice how Banks asked if the general there had Newsmax and the Epoch Times in his notebook, and then Milley responds that he didn't recall the conversation at all? Congressman Banks dug a little deeper.
Do you have a notebook that lists Newsmax and Epoch Times as domestic terrorists as recounted by the Bob Woodward book Peril? Or is Bob Woodward lying to us in the book?
I don't know. I don't recall any conversation about Epoch Times.
Do you believe that Newsmax and Epoch Times are domestic terrorists, or their viewers or readers are domestic terrorists?
No, not at all. I don't think Epoch Times nor Newsmax are domestic terrorist organizations.
Will you produce your notes to this committee?
I'll produce any notes you want.
that you relayed to Bob Woodward in the book that you listed different groups are responsible for January 6th?
Sure, absolutely.
We look very forward to seeing that notebook, in the interest of transparency, because we all know how apolitical Mr. Milley proclaims to be. But here's my conundrum. Who are we to believe? Bob Woodward is a longtime left-wing enabler in media. General Milley is a guy who put his honor and his name on the greatest foreign policy debacle for the United States in the modern era, a man who supported a political party that left our own people and allies behind under the boot of the terrorist Taliban. And according to Bob Woodward's book, Mr. Milley promised our enemy, Communist China, that he would tip them off if President Trump ordered military action against them. I suppose time and history will tell us who's telling the truth, but whoever is responsible for trying to equate conservatism displayed here at Newsmax and the Epoch Times as terroristic, whether it was Woodward or Milley or both of them, they should both know this. Your attempt to criminalize dissenting viewpoints doesn't make us terrorists. It makes you fascists.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.